the color that I can describe God is when you see the sunset or the sunrise, especially the sunset here in Florida, because you get like this golden warm yellow, and that was the color of God. Hello, my name is Kristen Newman. Um, I had an NDE about 5 months ago on November 3rd, 2024. Um, I actually do spiritual work. So I am a medium and a psychic and all of that. So this was highly profound for me to experience what the people that I channel that are in spirit that have passed have told me, and to experience that and have the memory and everything that happened has been amazing and profound. And I just want to share the story, to share my experience. So my husband is in construction. He normally is not home. He works all the time. He's mostly gone in the morning. Our daughter is older and in college, and she is typically gone as well. So that morning, it was my husband's birthday, November 3rd, and he was staying home that day. So, and he actually wound up staying in the room, and I felt really good that morning. I do have severe heart issues. My heart rate tends to go really fast. I have supraventricular and ventricular tachycardia, and I do have issues with arrhythmias. So there's really crazy beats that go on in there. So, I've had to stay home because of this. I can't travel because of this. So I've had this for over 15 years. So I actually was feeling good that morning. It was one of my better mornings. I felt really good. Um, and I went to go take my shower. Um, and all I remember is, I'm washing my hair, and I always put my conditioner in my hair and I let it sit in there. And I turn around to wash my face, and I could sense something was happening, and I instinctively went against the wall in the shower, and I came out of my crown. My spirit came out of my crown, and I faced myself, and I can see myself slide down and fall, and I hit my head on the entryway, the marble to the shower. And my husband had said, whatever you did, you got the dog's attention. And that's when he turned and looked and ran over to me and saw that I had collapsed. I knew what was happening. I knew what happened when it happened, that I had died, that my heart had stopped. I was able to see a few things while I was in spirit. I could see myself turn purple. I could see my daughter's face because my husband screamed for her to come in the room. And then I could see the ambulance. So it was only a couple of things, and it went that quickly. But my husband had to do constant chest compressions to keep me alive because I kept turning blue and then purple. And the ambulance had to stabilize me before we could even go. I was unresponsive. So this whole thing that occurred, I was unresponsive for about 20 hours. So I was intubated and not responding. But once I saw myself in the ambulance and they were breathing for me, I was like sucked out. And from there, I went straight to God, to Source. Um, Something I will never forget, and I put in my mind every day, because it was just so profound and the feelings were so amazing. The biggest thing is I was free. I didn't feel the weight of a body. It's we were just I'm so light. I just felt so light. And the emotions that we carry, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the anger, all of those low vibrational emotions are very heavy to us. So when you're in spirit, there's none of that. You have this profound knowing when you're with Source, this profound awareness to observe and to see things as they are. Profound love beyond anything I could even explain here. The love of your child, of your family, your spouse, that, but it's like amplified. Just immense beauty in the amazing emotions of love and joy. And I call him or God because that's my upbringing. But God is masculine and feminine. God is this beautiful ball of warm yellow light, huge, and it doesn't hurt your eyes to look at the light. And that's not like looking at the sun here, but the color that I can describe God is when you see the sunset or the sunrise, especially the sunset here in Florida, because you get like this golden warm yellow, and that was the color of God that I saw. Um, and the conversations that we had, because I went straight to God. I have more memory that has come back. So I had an awareness of um, angels that were surrounding me. They're the seraphim angels. Um, and God was just so proud of my life here. And he was, you did wonderful. Look at how amazing, what experiences you had. And it was just, there's no shame. So I never want anyone to worry about anything that they did in life that you won't be accepted over there, because we are just so immensely loved that it is beyond anything we can really comprehend here. Um, but it was just, I I could just sit in that emotion forever, just thinking of being that loved and being with God and feeling these seraphim angels that look like pearlescent dragons with four sets of wings, that were surrounding. In the spiritual work, we talk about the higher self, which is the part closest to God, our self in spirit that is closest to God, to source. And my higher self, I had learned a few years ago, is a seraphim, through a series of events that happened. And so my higher self was very much with me while I went and was speaking with God. And from there, I remember hearing whispers, Kristen, 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 Christy, Chrissy, Kristen, Kristen, and all of these beams of light were coming onto me. Um, and God said, look down, look at them. And it's so weird because it's a concept of a head, but it's your awareness that just goes wherever you need it to go. So my awareness went right to these rays of light. And God said, if you look at the ray of light, you can go directly to that person. You can hear them, you can go and actually see them if you wish to do that. Um, but all of the people that were praying for me, all of my friends, my loved ones, my family, all of the prayers were coming to me and I could hear them. Some of them were very loud. Some of them, I can hear them crying. But they were prayers to me. So know that, loved ones in spirit, do hear all of that. If someone is in a coma, seems unresponsive, um, they can hear you. They can even see you as well. So it's really interesting because my daughter she liked taking pictures of eyes, because your eyes, when you look at them, they're not just brown or black or blue. They're like the nebula. There's just this depth that's in the eyes, all the flecks of the different colors. And when my daughter was in the room while I was intubated, I opened my eyes, and she, I guess, got excited to see that I had opened my eyes. And the nurse said it was a response, just my body's response. And my daughter Emily said, you weren't there. Those weren't your eyes. They were flat There was no depth or color to them. They were flat. Because God takes you out. And that was one thing, whenever I would channel loved ones, they always said, God takes you out. So even though you might see and it might appear that the body is in pain, whether it's an animal, a human, God takes you out so you don't experience that. I cannot stress that enough. And I'm still dumbfounded by it because it was that quick. I was just out. There was no pain at all whatsoever. Um, the other thing that's amazing is I always communicate with my guides, angels, guardian angels, whatever you want to call them. We have a whole team that helps and supports us from spirit side. My mom was talking to her guides and said, please, can you let me know that Chrissy is okay? When they were on the drive to the hospital. Um, our nickname for one another, I'm her apple and she's my tree, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And when she got to the hospital, the nurse, the head nurse that was working on me, came up and she introduced herself. She goes, my name is Apple. I'm going to be Kristen's nurse. If you need anything, let me know. And my mom went, what's your name? And she goes, I know, my name is Apollonia, but my friends call me Apple. So that was the sign from spirit that everything was going to be okay. So that was profound. And for my mom to, ask spirit for a sign. But while I was in spirit as well, I was able to see my life review, because I did have a choice if I wanted to stay or go. And I did have a life review. And my life review, it was everything good. It was everything positive and happy and joyful, things that I did that made people feel good. And I could feel their emotions. It wasn't about me, it was about them feeling their joy, feeling their happiness. The way that Kristen learns, I get very hard on myself. So spirit and God showing me something where if I did something wrong or hurting other people, they're like, no, this is about you igniting that joy and seeing how happy other people are and feeling it from their perspective. And that ignited me with that memory to come back here and just want to do more of that, to spread that joy, to spread the magic, and to spread the happiness. That was such a gift that they gave me, to see that joy in other people, in my loved ones, family, all of that. I did go to a different area. I remember just, it's the blink of an eye. You just go somewhere else and everyone was there. It was just a sea of people, of guides, of angels, of all of these beings, everyone that has passed, all my animals, and everyone that I had channeled. One in particular is a teenage boy of my friends that had passed several years ago. And I have channeled him on numerous occasions. And he was right up front. And I saw him, he had this certain smirk where one side was higher than the other, and we embraced. And it was just so, it was so joyful to see them, to see everyone that I've channeled, to see loved ones and family, and to see these guides and angels, that it is real. I did have a moment with Jesus as well. And I remember I saw him, he looked slightly different than I remember him in my Catholic upbringing. But he put his hand, what would be on my heart, and he just said, I am, you are, we are, talking about how connected we all are. The I am presence, that we are all so very connected, that there's nothing outside of us, it's all within us. And we get to choose. We get to choose our life, how we choose to act and respond to things. In that moment, the memory has come back since then that I had completed my mission, what I was meant to do in the 44 years I've been on Earth. And I had the choice if I wanted to stay or I wanted to go back. And we always think about, and a lot of people that I do sessions for always ask, what's my purpose? What am I meant to do? And the biggest thing that Spirit always says is we have purposes. We don't have just one purpose, you have purposes. Maybe your purpose is raising your beautiful babies, helping other people. It is the kindness that you are. It doesn't have to just be about the profession that you have. It is, your purpose is about all of you, and the purposes can change and shift. And I could see all of these purposes that I had. And we think here that it's not profound. Oh, well, I just held the door open for someone. Oh, I just gave someone a compliment. But to them, it could be the world. They could be really in a bad place, and it can really change things for them by saying or doing something so positive. That act of kindness, you always hear, is a ripple, a pebble in the pond. And it is so true. So this memory that had come back, reminding me that I had lived what I was meant to do. I lived my purposes, and I had the choice to stay or to go. And I knew I was coming back. I loved Kristen. I love everyone in my life. And I knew, no, we're going back. And then once that was decided that I was going back, I had gone into this hall of learning where the walls go straight up as far as you can see. There are these huge windows, looked like an old library, but very, very clean. The white is something, the colors there are beyond the colors here. For those that can see in your mind's eye, colors that swirl, it's those kind of colors. They're just vibrant and have a whole life of their own. But I was at this table, and on the table, there were guides in front of me. My higher self was with me, next to me, that I remember now. But I had two other main guides that were in front of me that I still can't see, but I know that they were there because I can see the movements of them. And when I close my eyes, I can see them as light. Hopefully I can remember who they are at some point, but because when we come here, we choose our family, we choose everything. We plan it out. We plan out our life. We're going to marry this person. We're going to get divorced. We're going to have however many babies. We're going to be in this type of family. This is the trauma I want to go through, the lessons I want to learn. And I had to rebuild the rest of my life here now. I don't remember that. I remember I did it, but I don't know what I chose because I guess it would be cheating if I knew. But I remember saying, nope, we're not putting Kristen through that. Nope, we're not doing that. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I remember feeling so excited for her, for Kristen. And I got to do my timeline and say and state all of these different things that I wanted to learn, because that's why we're here. We're all part of God. We're all part of Source. And Source wants to experience and learn and give us this gift of doing that as well, and realizing the connectedness. So after that happened, I came back, and again, I was unresponsive for 20-ish hours or so. And I kept fidgeting, I kept moving. So, I can squeeze my hands, they would, blink your eyes, all that. And I would panic because I had the tube. And my husband had a sign, so I could read the sign and he would speak to me as well. But when I was back. There was no, I had an issue with my memory. At first, I couldn't remember things more than a couple of minutes, maybe 30 seconds, and it was a few minutes and all of that. Um, but the interesting thing is when my one of my best friends had come in the room and her husband had said, "Kristen, what did you see on the other side?" And my friend Suzanne had said, "Kristen, everything that we were asking you, what's your name? What year is it? When's your birthday? Do you know who this is?" Just to make sure I knew all of that. She said, "You could see that you were searching in your mind. Your eyes would go all over the place and you were searching for answers and you were, confused." But as soon as her husband said, "Kristen, what did you see?" And I told them, I went straight to God. She goes, "Kristen, there was no, you were telling your experience, you were telling what happened. There was no searching for that information. And then after you said that, we would ask you questions again." And she goes, "And then again, you were searching for all of it." But my it was like night and day. My parents came on Friday and I was unresponsive. When they came in the door on Saturday morning, um, I was awake. And my mom said, she goes, "You had this blissful look on your face like when you were a child." It was just that contented joy on my face. And that's something that I try to take with me each day. So I remember my husband and I went out to dinner not too long ago. And he looked at me, he goes, "What are you smiling about?" I said, "I'm just happy." And he said, he goes, "That's the same look you had on your face in the hospital." Because I'm just happy. I'm content. I'm joyful to be with my husband in the truck, see all of these people walking around. It was a beautiful sunset. It was just gorgeous outside. I was just so at peace and so joyful. And it's something that I try to take with me and remind myself about it each and every day when I get frustrated about normal human things. I bring this back into my heart to remember all of it because I want to be more than what I was even before and help even more people if I can. It was a profound, beautiful experience for me. It was very hard on my family to see me like that, to have that happen. I was in the hospital for 6 days. Four of them was in one hospital, and they actually came and visited me, the nurses and the staff, because they couldn't believe that I made a full recovery. I had no brain injuries or anything. They had to staple the back of my head because I had fallen, but it was just tiny little cuts, and they did that as a precaution. I did have to go get a defibrillator, um, but it was an amazing experience. Um, and the interesting thing too is this happened on November 3rd, 2023. Um, on October 30th, 2023, I totally forgot about this. And I wrote it down, just documented it for myself, but I happened to message a friend. And um, after I came back home and I was, able to talk to people and everything, my friend messaged me and said, "Kristen, look what you texted me on October 30th." And that morning, I had heard a male's voice speak to me early one morning. He said like a whole paragraph, and I don't remember anything he said. But then a woman spoke, and in a soft voice, she said, "It's happening, it's time." And then on November 3rd is when I had my NDE and my heart stopped. I knew something was coming. I had told a couple of people that I felt something was going to happen, but I didn't know what. But I knew it. A part of me had always known that I was going to die young. It's just something that you have an inner knowing of. So I was shocked that it was something that I was right about. Um, but having the heart issues, the electrical issues that I have, my plumbing is good in there. It's all electrical issues. Um, I knew something was going to happen. Um, but I am back, and I am grateful for the experience and the connections. And I'm blessed because I have friends that also are very spiritually connected. So when I spoke with them, they told me, I had one friend that said, Kristen, you looked like the sun. And she was witnessing when I had the prayers at that moment. And then I had this nudge to message my friend that I had seen her son. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell her. Um, I knew she'd be open to it, but I guess a part of me didn't want to upset her or anything. And my guides said, important, message her. So I messaged her and said, I want to let you know I saw your son. And we embraced, and I saw his smile, his smirk. One side was higher than the other. And she goes, Kristen, when I was praying for you, my son came to me. She goes, first of all, that's his smile. He would always smile like that with this little smirk, one side higher than the other. And he came to me and said, I'm with Kristen. And we embraced and hugged. So exactly what I told her is what he told her. So the validations from my friends, when I didn't even say anything yet, I didn't tell my story yet because I was still absorbing everything that happened. More memories were coming back about it. And it's just even more profound, the interconnectedness and the ability to communicate with those that have passed. We never die. Energy doesn't die. We are just in this physical body for a snippet of time, and then we transmute and transform and come back out, and we are spirit, and we're still here. They're always here experiencing with us and through us, which is why when I will channel and my friends will channel and do mediumship, that's why they're able to know not only what happened when someone was alive, but after they passed, they still see and witness things, and see what you're doing and experience life through us, which is so magical and so profound. So I wouldn't change this for anything. It was a hard thing to realize that I went through because it is traumatic. Um, the recovery and all of that, realizing that I have a defibrillator now and just all those different human things. But it's a gift that I will carry with me the rest of my life. And I'm very grateful. Life truly is beautiful and amazing. And we do have choices, and we do have love and support in spirit. We just have to ask. Um, because I remember it's something that my guides in spirit would always say before, but being in spirit, having the conversations with them about all is mind. What you speak goes out into the ethers to create your reality. So mind your words. And I've seen that in my life. I've experienced that. I've transformed my life with that and using my words. And it has just, my life is profoundly changed from this. All of these beautiful souls that I was able to channel met me on the other side. And it was just, I'm grateful for them giving me those messages because it is so true. So if you have a loved one that is now in spirit and you worry about how they felt, please know that God takes them out so they don't feel that pain. I went straight to God. Other people are, I know, greeted by loved ones. I was after I had met with God and grateful. And I'm grateful to be able to share my experience. And I thank you so much.